So, Dustin, you've got an incredible collaboration out right now with Canadian country artist MacKenzie Porter, who certainly seems to have quite a bit of buzz around her at the minute. The song is Thinking Bout You, which you co-wrote with Andy Albert, Hunter Phelps, and Will Weatherly. I know you originally recorded this song with Lauren Elena for the Tullahoma album. So how and why did this new pairing come about? Because I've heard on the grapevine that you actually came across MacKenzie's voice on an unnamed demo.
Yeah, so we originally did it with Lauren, and it all came down to timing of her release schedule and my release schedule, and what I needed timeline-wise for my next radio single. Lauren and I were touring together, and it just felt natural to ask her to do a version of Think About You. And we went into it knowing that timing may be an issue. So it ended up being an issue, and I didn't want the song to die. I felt like the song deserved a spotlight, and we could see it was reacting already in our live show. So my team and myself submitted to Nashville, hey, any young artists that can release a song during this window of time, please submit an audition for us. And I didn't want to be persuaded or pushed one way or the other based on looks or the amount of followers or buzz they had around town. I wanted to pick the best version of the song. And so I asked my team to remove all the names from the version submitted. And I kept coming back to MacKenzie's version, not knowing it was MacKenzie. So then whenever I figured out it was MacKenzie's version, I got to start digging in and go, well, who's MacKenzie Porter? I had no idea. So I started stalking her on social media. Come to find out she's an incredible actress and has a great success story in Canada as an artist. And the first time we met was in studio whenever we did the version together. So it was one of those things we just jumped in and trust the process, and we became great friends pretty quickly.
I want to ask you about the two new songs you recently released that certainly have more of a traditional country feel. Firstly, Not Every Cowboy. It's got this gorgeous chorus that kind of just comes out of nowhere and hits you like a punch. Tell me a bit about that one, would you?
Yeah, Not Every Cowboy is a song that I've loved since the day it was born. And it's just about that classic love story. I think it kind of dips back into my earlier music a little bit. We came out and our first single we put out to the world was Cowboys and Angels. And since then we've had a lot of our fans asking for more traditional music. And I've known we're always going to go back. That's my heart and soul, and always going to be a common thread in my music. So it was just a timing thing of, when are we going to go back and kind of dip our toe back in that traditional world of things. And it felt right to do this summer. And we paired it up with a song called Pasadena. And that I wrote that song back in 2013. So it's inspiring to know that songs, we write, they may stick around for a decade before it makes sense to put them out. But it was those two songs kind of about that classic, just cowboy and mystery girl, and I guess I'm still living that scenario, trying to find the right one to do the rest of life with. So it's great to have those songs now to perform on our live show, and I can sing them from an honest place.
That song Pasadena you co-wrote with Ryan Tyndall and Jeff Hyde. Obviously, there's a connection there with Eric Church. The song very much has a lovely George Strait vibe. Do you particularly enjoy performing those types of traditional throwback songs? Do you find they really connect at the live shows?
I do, and what's great is from a production sense and whatever we're going through the process, it is more traditional, and you don't think it'll rock, if you will, energetic wise. I'm speaking on stage, but man, when we get out there and we perform these songs, there's something about the simplicity of the wall of music that's coming out that really hits hard, man. And there's an emotion to that, and so it's been fun to we've been on this crazy ride of kind of one end in the spectrum of traditional country all the way over here to this rocking kind of more poppy stuff. We've been blessed this past decade to be able to go from one side to the other and back, and our fans have been supportive along the way, and it's great to now have a few more traditional songs in our set, and see that people are still wanting that from us. And I think as we continue recording music over this next year, we'll keep that in mind, and maybe get to do some more of it.
Are these two standalone songs, or are they going to feature on, say, an upcoming album or EP?
Yeah, with the reaction we're seeing, I think it's smart to put them on an upcoming album for sure. And I think it pairs nicely with the other songs that we have recorded that we haven't released yet, but are on the way. So we'll just see how that plays out. It's all about still putting an album together that makes sense. So as of now, it makes sense to be on the album, and I'm going to continue to write this fall and record, and we'll see where it ends up.
Your previous hit, Mama's House, I really love that song. It's got this brooding, dark, moody energy, very much in the lane of someone like Jason Aldean. What was it about that song that drew you to it? What really stood out?
Yeah, the original version of that song was, I think you hit it on the head. It was dark. It was moody. It was kind of weird too. I don't know. It was something, I write so many songs and I'm sent so many songs by other writers, hoping I gravitate towards them and want to record them. It's rare that a demo comes in to me and it sounds like nothing else I've ever heard. And that was just speaking from songwriter sense, that's just a hook that all of us wish we had thought of and written. It's one of those that was right there for us to write. And this particular gentleman came across it and wrote the crap out of it. And that was our first song, and that was our quarantine song, I guess, if you will, where we had a hit, but we never got to see the hit live because we weren't touring. So it's really fun to do right now as we're able to tour a little bit and have this big giant single that we didn't have the opportunity to play as it grew. It's just everybody knows it, and that's cool to do.
From the release of your first single, Cowboys and Angels, back in 2012, I mean, it is phenomenal the amount of chart success you've enjoyed, and also how much you've built your fan base to the point now where you are one of the biggest stars within the country genre. If you look back on your career from then to now, what would be the key bit of advice that you would pass on to aspiring singer-songwriters?
Yeah, I think the key bit of advice is trust your gut when it comes to creative, anything creative. I think if I look back, it's easy to be persuaded, especially early on in your career where you're going, man, was I just getting lucky? Am I just getting lucky? Or do I have my finger on the pulse of what I need to do? And I think looking back, I always have my finger on the pulse, and I think I still do. If there's something I believe in, not only has it proven to work, it's been more fun, to I guess, and it's selfishly in a way to prove myself right. And hopefully I can continue to do that for a while. But I would say that, believe in that. And I've lost so much sleep second guessing myself over the past decade. And you know what? It's changed nothing. I should have just trusted my gut because it's been working. So there we go.
You have a lovely property just outside of Nashville where you've obviously been based during quarantine and the pandemic. As a guy who would normally spend so much of his time on the road gigging so hard, have you, to spend your days on songwriting sessions over Zoom and to go out there and be getting your hands dirty in the farm, have you in a way enjoyed that slower pace of life?
I have, yeah. It was an education of an experiment, kind of like, hey, can I do this if touring's taken away from me? And I think, any touring act that's ever existed, there's a window of time that you get to tour, and then, either you choose to stop or it chooses to stop you down the road. And I think this past year was proof that, hey, I can do life and find, fulfillment and enjoy, if God forbid something bad was to happen to my voice or any sort of debilitating injury would happen. I don't know, but if I'm unable to tour, can I do life and enjoy and find fulfillment? And the answer is yes. And you mentioned it. It is such a blessing to have property outside of Nashville that I can go out on and just be in nature. I've always been a great outdoorsman, and I owe that to my parents for allowing me to get outside and learn and experience the great outdoors and all it has to offer and provide, food and for myself and all that. And it's a great contrast to what creating music is. Music is so subjective and it's tough to, you can go in and write, but there's nobody giving you, hey, congrats, job well done, because it's never done. And so I think having a farm outside of town where I can go have a task and get it done, is just a great contrast to what creating music is.
Back in 2019, you played Country to Country in Dublin. And I mean, I was there right down the front. And I remember during your set looking behind me and to the sides, and I couldn't believe you had that crowd in that arena, free arena, eating out of the palm of your hand. And I would have assumed, I kept thinking as I was watching you, you know, this guy, he's never been to this city before. It's so far from home. Country music's not the mainstream music. It must have been so surprising to be standing on that stage and see that so many people know your songs.
It was very surprising, and you can probably tell I've got a smile on my face thinking about that moment. And I was just telling my band last week, man, I'm counting down the days to come back over there and drink beer again. I love the culture. I miss you guys. I miss it over there. And we're going to definitely be back. And on top of coming back and playing shows, I'm going to schedule in just coming over to hang and, you know, and get back into that culture. I just love it. I'm really good at drinking beer on a bar stool. So I fit right in pretty good. And yes, we were surprised as a band. We had fingers crossed that we would do a good enough show that people would enjoy and, you know, maybe want us to come back and to be surprised with, holy crap, they actually know our songs too. It was just a wonderful feeling.
And just finally, speaking of Ireland, I've always wondered with the surname like Lynch, if there was an Irish link. And from doing a bit of digging, I believe there is a connection to Galway and Lynch's castle.
There is, yeah, Galway, and you're exactly right. And I was hoping to get out there and visit, and visit the castle. And I think there's an ATM hanging on the side of it now.
I've been to it, and it's a bank.
Yeah,
yes,
you're exactly right. It is Galway. Yeah, that's the connection. And you know, another reason I want to come back and enjoy, because that's in my DNA.